All right, before we get to the first retouch, there's something you need to know. Everything that I'm going to do in this class, you can absolutely do with just a mouse. You do not need any kind of a tablet or anything. That being said, you should get a tablet. Let me just tell you why. Because, and you'll totally understand when I tell you this. So even though you can do every single thing here, it's kind of like painting a house. So if you were going to get a job painting houses, you show up the first day of the job and you show up with a regular paintbrush. You walk up to the foreman and go, "I'm here to paint houses for you." What would the foreman say? He's going to go, "You're going to paint the house with this brush?" And you'd go, "Yes, can I not paint a house with this brush?" And he'd go, "Well, you could. It's just going to take you a long time. And when you get down to the detail work, like along the edges and stuff, it's going to be a little sloppy. But yeah, you can do it." So why would he tell him that? Because the tools of the trade for painting a house are basically that regular brush and a roller brush to work faster and a smaller detail brush to get the detail areas. Portrait retouching is the same way. So using a tablet is going to make you work faster. Your detail work will be much, much better, and you will wind up doing retouches you wouldn't have done with a mouse. Because I always make the joke that retouching with a mouse, it's kind of like doing surgery with a baseball glove on. It just makes everything really, really clunky. Now, I want to tell you about the tablet I use. This is the one that I use. It actually travels with me. This is the Wacom Intuos 5 Small. So it's their very smallest one. Now, in my studio, I actually use a medium one, which is slightly larger than this. The reason I'm using the small is for a couple of things. The biggest reason I use the small is it fits perfectly in my laptop bag. I can slide it right in the back of my laptop bag. It fits there perfectly, and it goes with me everywhere I go. So no matter where I am, I do a lot of traveling and lecturing and things, I have my tablet with me. And it uses a little wireless pen. And this is really the secret to the whole thing, is the fact that we've used pens our whole life. They don't feel the least bit clunky. We can trace things with a pen. You ever try to trace anything with a mouse? That's what I mean. And so once you try one of these, and honestly, if you're watching a retouching class, I'm probably speaking to the choir. You're probably guys, "Oh, we've got a tablet, don't worry about it." But for those of you who don't, I would certainly consider it. I love Wacom tablets. I've been using Wacom for years. Their stuff is absolutely fantastic. I do not get any kind of kickback or anything from them if you buy a tablet, so it's not like I'm trying to talk you into a tablet because I'm going to get a kicker on the end. Absolutely not. But they're really, really wonderful. And if you're serious about retouching, if you want the tools of the trade that retouchers use, this is the one. Also, it's wireless. The pen's wireless, and you can get a little adapter to make the tablet wireless as well. So that's pretty cool. You can also assign little keys on the side, like if you're going to be using the option key, which you do a lot in retouching. If you're going to be adding layer masks, which you do a lot in retouching. If you're going to be doing different things, you can assign these to the buttons on the keyboard. And if you just rest your hand over here, they pop up right on screen. It'll show you all of your keys, what they're named. And you can also change your brush size just by circling your finger on that center circle. So tremendously, I know artists use it, but it's like it was designed for retouchers. That being said, you can still do everything I want to show you with the mouse. So if you have a mouse, don't let that deter you. Let's get on to the eyes. Here in our very first clip on the eyes, I mentioned the eyes are so important. The eyes are probably the most important thing in portrait retouching. If the eyes don't look great, the rest of the photo is not going to look great. And one of the things that I start off with is eyebrows. Now, luckily, women are pretty good about keeping their eyebrows trimmed, though not always, but mostly. Guys, though, whew, we are notorious to have a big caterpillar up there. So I'm going to show you a technique. It's really, really simple. Just take a look. What we're going to do is this. We're going to start off by getting the lasso tool. And you're going to try to kind of draw around the kind of, see the eyebrow? Watch. I'm going to draw a line that's kind of like the eyebrow. And then I'm just going to kind of curl back around. So it's not really, I didn't really draw an eyebrow, but I'm kind of following the arc of the eyebrow. Now, the thing is, at some point, I'm going to have to soften this selection. If not, you're going to see the edges. And we soften a lot. We're going to have to, because if not, you're going to see a hard edge where our retouches are. So how do we hide the tracks of our retouch? We do it by going under the select menu, under modify, and we add a feather. So feathering is going to soften those edges, and you may already know this, but if you don't, feathering is going to soften those edges and really make the transition hidden, so you can't really tell what we did. You would just bring it up, type in a number. In this case, we'll use 5. The higher the number, the softer the edge. So we'll try 5. Click OK. Now, so even though you didn't see the selection changed, it actually went from having a very hard edge to having a softer edge. Now I need this piece of skin up here actually up on its own separate layer. So I'm going to press Command J on a Macintosh or Control J on PC, and I'll hide the background layer for a moment so you can see, look, just a piece of skin hanging up there. Now, to make this work, it's incredibly simple. All you have to do is get the Move tool. You're going to click on that area you selected, drag it straight down, and look, it trims the eyebrow. That's it. Look at the difference. Look how neatly it trimmed up that area. It really did a nice job. Now, you can see a little bit of a repeating pattern here. So when I'm done, we're going to go and just make a couple of clicks with probably the healing brush or the spot healing brush to get rid of that spot that repeated. But take a look at the nice trimming it did on the eyebrow, okay? So here's before, and there's after. Now, I didn't need to make quite as big a selection as I did, so let's actually make a smaller one. You don't need quite that much. I made it very, very thick. Let's try it. Just follow the line of the eyebrow and then come back a bit, something like that. I maybe could do a little better than that, right? There we go. Let's soften it. 5 pixels is fine for this one. Put it up on its own layer, Command J on Mac or Control J on PC, and then scoot it down. Yeah, you see, we didn't need quite that much. And look at that, nicely trimmed. Now what I would do is go ahead, you can go ahead and flatten the image if you like, and then let's go get either the clone stamp tool or whatever you like to get rid of this one little area right in there where you can see, I accidentally tapped there, you can see a couple of little of the things repeated. We don't really want that. So I'm going to change my brush size. If you use the left or right bracket keys on your keyboard, or if you're using a Wacom tablet, you can use the circular wheel. I'm just going to go in here and just click a couple of times to get rid of these. We're actually going to use the rubber stamp tool. So we'll option click in a nearby area. On PC, you would alt click, and let's just get rid of those. There we go. Just a couple little clicks, and we're done, and our eyebrow's fixed. Now here's the problem. Don't forget, she has 2 eyebrows. Don't make the crucial mistake of fixing one and then forgetting the other. So what I might do is, she's got a hair coming down right into the eye here. Let's go ahead and get the spot healing brush. Now the spot healing brush is designed for removing blemishes and things like stray hairs. So what you can do is get your brush just a little bit larger than the hair you want to remove, and then you just trace right over it. And it's gone. She has a little stray hair here. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of this up there. And then right down here over her eyebrow. And it's not a beautiful job right in here. We kind of smudged here. And I want to point this out and bring this to your attention, because one of the things the healing brush does well is it removes things that are kind of by themselves. Like when you saw that hair going across her skin, it's kind of by itself. So there's no real problem with getting rid of that. But when we got down here and it got near her eye, it kind of smudged. So what I'm going to do is let's undo that last little step there. Let's go Shift Option Command on Mac or Shift Alt Control on PC. That undoes the last step. In fact, that gives you 20 multiple undos if you use that keyboard shortcut. That's Option Command Z on Mac or Alt Control Z on PC. Let's go back this time. If it smears, I will go back in with the rubber stamp tool. Go right in there, and that way it doesn't smear. I can just get rid of that area right near the edge, go back with the spot healing brush, and fix that. So that we've gotten rid of that now, and we'll talk a lot more about the spot healing brush and all that stuff later. So if you're like, I didn't get that, don't worry, you're going to cover that in depth. Now let's go over here and draw our line for the eyebrow. Soften that edge with a feather up on its own layer, and then move it down to trim. And let's actually get the Move tool, might help. Like that, and just trim that eye. Maybe I went a little too tight. There we go. Trim it right up to where it kind of matches the other one. And there's the before and after of just that eyebrow. And you can see it's so much better, so much nicer trimmed. And I mean, she didn't really have bad eyebrows, but once you fix them, you go, wow, that absolutely does look better.